The model was printed on my old Elegoo Neptune 2 FDM printer using white filament. The main hull and the top deck were printed on my old Elegoo Neptune 2 FDM printer. I printed Thing on my old Elegoo Neptune 2 FDM printer with no infill and no supports. Once the crown was correctly scaled, I printed it on my old Elegoo Neptune 2 FDM printer. Hi there guys, as you can hear there, I was starting to form a bit of a catchphrase in the form of my old Elegoo Neptune 2 FDM printer. This was my first printer that I purchased back in July 2021, and I was able to make some amazing projects with it, one of which I've still to show you on the channel. That being said, I did have a lot of issues with this printer, and looking back now, I think the build plate might have been warped slightly. No matter how many times I levelled the build plate, I always had prints either not adhering or the nozzle would scrape against the plate constantly. As this was my first printer, I never realised what the issue was, and by the time I did, the warranty had expired. When I bought my Elegoo Saturn 8K resin printer in 2023, I abandoned FDM printing and focused exclusively on resin printing. Because 3D printers take up so much space, and I would never sell something I know isn't working, earlier this year, I finally dismantled my old Elegoo Neptune 2 FDM printer and took it to my local recycling centre, where it can hopefully be melted down and made into something more useful, like a lamppost. But some time has passed, I've grieved the loss, and now I really want to start work on some new FDM projects next year. So, when Black Friday rolled around this year, I saw that Elegoo had a good deal on their Neptune 3 Plus and decided to go for it. The printer arrived in this giant box. I used a regular kitchen knife to open it. Always remember to cut away from yourself when opening a box. I totally didn't forget to do that, then need to re-record myself showing correct health and safety measures to my audience. The printer is really well packaged, with a lot of foam inserts to keep it secure during shipping. It's stacked in two main sections, the upper frame and the lower print bed. Once all the pieces and tools were removed from the box, I arranged them on my floor. For assembly, I used the easy to follow instruction manual, which tells you which screws you'll need to use for each section, which are clearly marked in individual bags. There's also a video guide included on the USB drive that comes with the printer. I rested the frame on a cushion to keep it off the ground, and then attached it to the print bed using 4 bolts and one of the Allen wrenches provided. The next step was to attach the stand for the touchscreen, and then the touchscreen simply plugs into the front of the printer. The ribbon cable for the print head simply clamps in place. I then assembled and attached the filament reel holder, which comes in 2 parts and then bolts onto the top of the frame. Because the printer is so tall, the final main step of the assembly was to bolt these 2 support rods to each side of the printer. Once that was done, it was just a case of connecting each of these ribbon cables to their corresponding motors. I then plugged in the power cord and switched on the printer for the first time. I really like the LED bar at the top, which you can switch on and off to see how your print is going. One of everyone's least favourite things about 3D printing is levelling the print bed, and although you still need to level the Neptune 3 Plus using the dials under the print bed and placing a piece of paper under the nozzle, you don't need to do this absolutely perfectly. One of the really cool things about this printer is its auto level feature. Once you've manually adjusted the bed, a sensor in the print head touches 49 points on the bed, and the computer calibrates the bed height at each of these points, and takes this into account when printing your model. I know auto leveling has been a feature in 3D printers for a while now, but it's the first time I've used it, and it's going to make things so much easier. Once assembled and leveled, it was time to do a test print, and Elegoo include this little Buddha STL file and G-code on the USB drive provided. The USB drive is an adapter for a micro SD card, which plugs into the front of the printer so you can print your files. Although I've heard this isn't the fastest printer, it printed this Buddha in around 1 hour and 30 minutes, and there's a great level of detail that you get from the 0.4mm nozzle that is attached to the print head. Another feature I really like is this magnetic build plate that you can lift off and is flexible enough so you can easily remove your prints. Again, I know this feature has been around for at least a couple of years now, but it's my first time using it, and I'll likely get a magnetic plate from my resin printer as well. The Elegoo Neptune 3 Plus looks like it's going to be a great machine to work with, and with its 320 by 320mm build plate, I'll be able to print some huge models. I can't wait to show you the projects I have planned for 2025. In honour of my old Elegoo Neptune 2, why don't you have a look at some of the projects I made with it? And as always, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more projects like this in the future, then be sure to click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.